Hi, I'm Diane Flynn, Director of the Beinecke Scholarship Program. With me is Sarah Weston, 2013 Beinecke Scholar. Welcome, Sarah. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yes. Okay, so I did my undergraduate at Stanford University. I was a double major in English and art history. And then I went from there to do a MPhil at the University of Cambridge in English studies. So I focused on, they have a track on 18th century and Romantic literature, which I did. And then I'm currently a PhD student in English and history of art at Yale University. And yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and when you applied for the Beinecke, did you apply for both or just one of the fields?
When I applied for my PhD,
Yeah.
I applied just for English, but I was really torn. I wanted to do both, but I sort of made a decision at the end of the day. Really love English, so I'm going to just go there. But after I went to Yale, I met with a professor in the art history department who just sort of invited me to do a joint degree, and it's something that we've been setting up and working towards.
Okay.
So,
And can you talk just a little bit about some of the implications of doing the joint degree in terms of, is it taking you longer to do your studies, or is it, how does that work for any students who are thinking about, oh, I'm not sure I want to commit to one field and I think I could do a joint degree like this?
Yeah, so there are a lot of joint degrees. This one we had to set up from scratch, but there were a lot of existing ones at Yale and at other universities. So that's a thing that you can definitely do. It was a lot of extra coursework, and also I had to do an extra 2 exam fields in during my orals exams. But yeah, no, I'm not writing 2 dissertations. It's just the one.
Good.
So yeah, so it was a lot of stress early on, but it's sort of gotten better since.
Great, thank you. Now, Sarah, as an undergraduate, can we go back to your undergraduate years? What are some of the things that you were doing as an undergraduate that made you a really strong candidate to be a Beinecke Scholar?
Yes. Okay. So I have a bunch of different ideas. One, I took a lot of graduate classes as an undergrad. So I took, I think, 3 in my sophomore year, and I just kept trying to do one every quarter, like in my remaining time. And that was really helpful to sort of get myself experience writing research papers and to also form relationships with professors. So I really recommend if you can take a grad class. And I also made really great friends within those grad classes, and they ended up helping me out as I was writing my personal statement. So would recommend doing that. Definitely doing research. So you'll do a lot of this in grad school, so it's good to get your sort of foot under you in undergrad. You can either do work for professors, which I did some research work for professors, and I also, and I'm talking about stuff I did specifically up till the point that I applied for my Beinecke scholarship.
Okay,
Yeah, so I did research for professors. I also, took a class on paleography and ended up being asked by the professor to do a larger project for special collections at Stanford. And so I sort of did some research for special collections. And so yeah, research for other people is great, but also you really want to find your own niche, do your own work, sort of figure out what moves you and what excites you, and then find the university resources to help you go do things, see things. And so, yeah, I also think it's really important to have sort of both depth and focus, and then also breadth when you're thinking about applying to grad school. So my area of sort of focus was William Blake, who is what attracted me to studying both English and history of art in the first place. So he's a poet and painter. So I got a grant from Stanford after my freshman year to go see a bunch of different Blake manuscripts in London and Cambridge. And so I had this really amazing experience just being with those manuscripts. And that was just incredible. And it was also great to do a sort of large amount of work to prepare for the grant proposal writing process, because I think every time you're writing grant proposals, you're doing you're getting better at the genre and the form. So I did that. I studied some Blake in person after my freshman year, and then I got another grant from Stanford the next summer so what I did was I apprenticed with a printmaker who knows the exact process of etching and printing that Blake used, because it was very unique and different from what everyone else was doing at the time. So I apprenticed with him, and I wrote my own set of songs of innocence and of experience. I illustrated them, and then I etched and printed them with him as my sort of supervisor. So that was really helpful. So yeah, finding something you really, really love and just sort of exploring it from every possible angle that you can is something I would really recommend. And then after you're done doing that, presenting your work. So Stanford did a sort of public research symposium type thing. And so every semester that they did that, I would go and I would present the latest work. So it was really helpful to sort of get feedback and do stuff like that. So do research and then find ways of sort of communicating your research, presenting your work. And yeah, okay. My other thought was I also participated in a program that allowed, so it was sort of, would bring middle school and high school students on campus, and we could just teach whatever we wanted to do. So undergrads could teach any class and design something. And so that was also really helpful to just sort of get a taste of what teaching might be like. So if there are ways that you can volunteer or, you know, work at a women's shelter or, you know, there's like, I was also doing tutoring at a women's shelter. And so if you can kind of get involved in these ways, in these different things, I think it's really helpful to sort of diversify what you're doing, how you're communicating, how you're, yeah, okay. I think that was everything I wanted to say.
Everything. Yeah, because it's a great, you've given some great examples that students, I think, from all different backgrounds, all different schools, you know, sometimes schools don't have the funding to do some of the grant work that you've done, but, you know, as you said, to be doing some of the teaching and some of the other experiences are things that hopefully are accessible to most students everywhere. So thank you for that. It was a great list of examples. No, it was a great list of examples. So now I'm going to ask you the next question, which is not just kind of what were some of the things you're doing, but do you have any hints or tips for students who are interested in applying to the Beinecke scholarships, things they can do to make their application stronger, to get the most out of the process?
Yes. Okay. So I think besides the things that I was talking about earlier, I think really want to emphasize, find something you love that you're really, really passionate about, that gives you a sort of immense joy and excitement that you just want to wake up and do, and you have a hard time going to bed because you kind of want to keep doing it. So I think find that for you, and you're in that enthusiasm and joy will be really infectious in your application. So, and it will also drive you to find different ways of exploring things, like, you know, how I actually went to a print shop and figured out how to do all this stuff about Blake. So that is one recommendation. Another recommendation is find professors who support you and encourage you. Because it meant a world of difference to have an advisor who believed in me and who suggested that I apply for all of these different things, because there will be a bunch of hidden funding sources at universities that you won't know about, and that you won't know about until you find someone who's sort of able to help you navigate that. So, and I had another professor who encouraged me to present some of my research at a conference in London and helped me, you know, she set up a group of people to help me do like a sort of practice run. So I don't think I would have gotten anywhere without the people with like really strong mentorship and people who really care about you and believe in you. Okay, so how do you find like professors who support you and who believe in you? I would say take as many classes as you can. It might be good to take like team taught classes so you can get like a 2-for-1. And again, taking grad classes was really helpful because I really forged meaningful relationships with my professors through that. So that, finding ways that your university can support you and help you do your research. So whether that be, you know, getting funds or other means to gain experience. And it could be like jobs that are on campus, like in your department, and that will maybe help you do, you know, find connections with other people. So find ways that your university can sort of like work for you and that you can take advantage of lots of different things. I would also say take as many different kinds of classes as you can, because I took like a chemical engineering course, and that was the reason why I thought I wanted to do that project where I was like actually figuring out how Blake was doing his stuff. So, and then I also took an art history course on a total whim one quarter when I just had, you know, a free opening, and then I fell in love with it so much that I wanted to double major in it. So you just never know. I think it's just, yeah, just cast your net wide. follow all your different excitements that you have. And I think your mind will expand every time you push yourself to sort of go a little bit out of your comfort zone. Again, I would also encourage volunteering, sort of ways that you can reach beyond the academy, because I think it's important to do research to prove yourself as a scholar, but then also I think, you know, what are we doing in the academy if we're not also kind of finding some meaning that like has some sort of, that, you know, broadly reflects or helps other people. So finding ways to sort of, you know, maybe a tutoring program or like, you know, stuff like that, I think is really, really useful. And then, yeah, I had a few other jobs that that I worked, you know, in the English department, and I also worked as a writing tutor in my dorm. So I think all of those sort of things that are related to your field that will all just like help you kind of build your portfolio, and it's really, really useful. And then my last thought is just take initiative. I mean, I think that's kind of my main theme, besides do what you love, is take initiative. There are a ton of resources that you just don't know about. And, you know, you're not gonna just, you know, find professors who need researchers, exhibitions that you could curate, you know, those things all exist. You just need to actually proactively find them. Mm-hmm. So that could be emailing cold emailing professors or cold emailing department heads. And, you know, asking if people need a researcher, or asking a curator if they like need help on a museum exhibit. And yeah, I also started a research colloquium. This is again before I applied. I started a research colloquium in the English department where students could share their work, grad students and faculty and undergrad. So it was a sort of way of wrangling the department together and learning about research. So that was something that I just kind of thought would be cool and then just made happen. And yeah, so you can do a lot of things just with proactive, like, initiative, energy, and passion about what you're doing. So
thank you.
Yeah.
No, Sarah, because I was going to say a lot of what you talked about in that, and you started about kind of finding and being able to express your joy. A lot of the activities you suggested, you know, tutoring and working with people, yeah, and presenting your materials, and, you know, even putting together new initiatives on your own, are ways of helping you kind of hone and, yeah, and kind of corralling that joy in ways that other people can experience it. Exactly. And in ways that you can test the messaging. And that's so important, especially for somebody like me who reads a lot of applications. Reading a joy-filled application is a, yes, wonderful thing. So thank you so much. Sarah, I'm going to thank you for your time, for sharing your experiences, your advice. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.